Coalition of civil society don hail PresidoTinubu and Senate President Akpabio for democratic stability. Comrade Prince Miafen, wey be the coordinator of Renewed Hope Advocates of Naija, tok dis one as e dey yarn tori pipo to mark Democracy Day for 2025 wey dem do for Abuja. Miafen tok say Renewed Hope Advocates of Naija don choose the theme Executive Legislative Synergy to shine light on the important roles wey respect, unity and cooperation between the different arms of government dey play for national development. E say under President Tinubu administration, Naija don see better cooperation between presidency and the Senate, something wey never really happen like this for recent political history. E still praise Senator Akpabio for the patriotic, mature and visionary leadership wey im give the 10th Assembly. Say the leadership align well with the Renewed Hope agenda. Miafin also highlight say the better understanding wey dey between Tinubu and Akpabio na wetin don make executive bills dey pass quick and make legislative oversight dey help push the economy reforms wey dey revive Naija economy. E come beg Naija pipo make dem continue to dey support President Tinubu government, say the hardship wey pipo dey face now because of subsidy removal and monetary reform go soon pave way for better economic growth. E still beg lawmakers for all levels make dem follow the example wey Senator Akpabio don set, make dem put Naija first, take oversight serious and fast-track legislative actions wey go support the Renewed Hope agenda.
Another milestone in his democratic journey with the celebration of the 2025 Democracy Day on June 12, the Renewed Hope Advocate joins the rest of the country in extending its heartfelt congratulations to all Nigerians. This year, our organization has adopted the theme Synergy in Governance, Consolidating Democracy through Executive Legislative Cooperation, which is not just a reflection of the times, but a deliberate appreciation of the collaborative spirit that now defines governance under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the 10th National Assembly, led by His Excellency, the President of the Senate, Godswill Obot Akpabio, CON. In contrast to this unproductive history of deliberate executive and legislative altercations, the current political climate under President Tinubu and Senate President Akpabio demonstrates a mature, stabilizing partnership that means well for Nigeria's long-term democratic development. Their relationship is not one of blind allegiance, but of mutual respect, constitutional fidelity, and shared commitment to delivering on the promises of the Renewed Hope agenda under a visionary president. Since his election as the Senate President, Senator Akpabio has consistently aligned with the legislative priorities of the Senate, with the economic and reform-driven agenda of President Tinubu. Little wonder he codenamed the 10th Assembly the Corrective Senate. From the swift screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees to the passage of the key bills that underpin the administration's economic revival efforts, the 10th Senate has demonstrated unparalleled responsiveness. For instance, landmark legislation relating to fiscal reforms, social and judicial reform all have received timely legislative agenda. Once more, get it clearer. We said since the election of the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, he has consistently aligned the legislative priorities of the 10th Senate with the economic and reform-driven agenda of President Tinubu. Little wonder he codenamed the 10th Assembly the Corrective Senate. From the swift screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees to the passage of key bills that underpin the administration's economic revival efforts, the 10th Senate had demonstrated unparalleled responsiveness. For instance, landmark legislations relating to fiscal reforms, social investment restructuring, power sector revitalization, and judicial reform all have received timely legislative attention. These efforts have helped reinforce investors' confidence, catalyst infrastructural development, and enhance institutional accountability. Senator Akpabio, a former governor and a seasoned legislator, brings to bear a wealth of experience that complements this administration. Akpabio is an apostle of good governance. Thus, it becomes easy to align with the visionary leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Mr. President is a reformer, and in just 2 years, he has done what all presidents put together could not achieve. Nigeria needs bold decisions. Therefore, the determination of the National Assembly to give unflinching support to bold decisions by Mr. President is heavily applauded. Their synergy has ensured that national priorities are not lost in the web of political brinkmanship that has characterized previous administrations. Nigeria will recall episodes in the past when a fractured relationship between the presidency and the National Assembly resulted in budget delay, policy gridlocks, and administrative paralysis. Today, we celebrate a new paradigm where institutional harmony accelerates development rather than hindering it. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a visionary leader, a trailblazer, and a pathfinder. His enemies can continue to hate him, but the country will continue to get better under his watch. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I repeat, is a visionary leader, a trailblazer, and a pathfinder. His enemies can continue to hate him, but the country will continue to get better under his watch. With the cooperation of the Senate President, Akpabio, and the leadership of the National Assembly, Nigerians can expect better days. Surely there can't be a better yesterday. Courtesy of this cooperation, Nigeria is the admiration of all nations today. Thus, this cooperation must be sustained. We want to put it on record that we would resist any deliberate attempts to distract this administration or cause disharmony between these two arms of government. Our organization is aware of determination of detractors to bungle this executive legislative harmony. We, the executives of the Renewed Hope Advocates, will continue to promote what is good for our country until the detractors are put to shame and the political merchants of discord are disappointed as the lives of the citizens continue to improve and get better. The Renewed Hope agenda built on pillars of economic recovery, inclusive governance, social infrastructure, and national security cannot thrive without legislative cooperation. The partnership between the executive and the legislature has been critical in fast-tracking the implementations of these policies. In agriculture, laws promoting mechanized farming and investment in rural infrastructure have found support in the Senate. In education and health, the allocations of resources and legislative oversight have been more targeted and effective to this synergy. Equally important is the Senate President's role in ensuring national cohesion and inclusivity. Senator Akpabio's leadership has been instrumental in fostering a sense of balance and representation, ensuring that diverse voices across the Nigerian geopolitical zone are adequately heard in the upper chambers. His stewardship of the National Assembly has helped build trust in the legislative processes and deepened democratic culture at the grassroots. This synergy is also significantly attributed to the stabilization of the economy. With legislative backing, the executive have been able to introduce reforms in the oil and gas sectors, expand social investment programs, and initiate landmark digital economic strategies. The approval of supplementary budget and timely passage of the appropriation bills under Akpabio's leadership have ensured fiscal predictability, one of the bedrock of economic planning and investment. Looking ahead, the renewed hope advocate of Nigeria believes that this synergy will prove even more critical in the second half of President Tinubu's first term in office. As the country faces economic headwinds and security challenges, a united front of no doubt between the executive and legislature is indispensable. The vision of the prosperous, secured, and united Nigeria can only be realized through continued cooperation, strategic policy alignment, and the unwavering commitment of leaders of the National Assembly. Looking ahead, the renewed hope advocate of Nigeria believes that this synergy will prove even more critical in the second half of President Tinubu's first term in office. As the country faces economic headwinds and security challenges, a united front, no doubt, would between the executive and legislature is indispensable. The vision of a prosperous, secured, and united Nigeria can only be realized through continued cooperation, strategic policy alignment, and the overbearing commitment of leaders of the National Assembly. On this Democracy Day, we celebrate more than 2 decades of unbroken democratic governance in Nigeria. But more importantly, we celebrate the maturity, vision, and patriotism of the leadership that understands the value of working together. We commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his courage and reform-driven governance, his clear understanding of the workings of the legislators, and the highest respect for the parliament and their constituents. This indeed is commendable milestone in the annals of the history of our great nation. This presidency is truly driven by a real Democrat. We also commend the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, for his stabilizing influence and people-centered legislative leadership. Together, they are steering the Nigerian ship with purpose and resilience. As citizens, we must also do our own part by deepening our engagement with democratic institutions, upholding the rule of law, and holding our leaders accountable. Democracy is not a destination, but a collective journey. The legacy of June 12 reminds us that the sacrifices of the past must translate into responsible leadership and participatory governance. From all of us at the Renewed Hope Advocate of Nigeria, we say Happy Democracy Day. Let's consolidate our democracy through unity, cooperation, and shared purpose.
Make una no forget say, as we see am, na so we dey talk am. We no dey take blame. Ohifemi Onosimo, TMC News.